The palace was dying. Smoke rose from 1,000 fires and the sky burned red like an open wound. Jiwan moved through the broken corridors like a shadow, his boots crunching on shattered glass and spent shell casings. The screams had stopped an hour ago. That was worse than the noise. He pressed his back against a crumbling wall and checked his weapon. 3 magazines left. Not good. The Kraloth soldiers were everywhere, their heavy armor making them look like walking tanks. They spoke in harsh clicks and grunts as they searched the ruins for survivors. Commander Doyen's voice crackled in his ear. Jiwan, the palace is collapsing. You need to move faster. I'm almost there, Jiwan whispered back. He could see the royal vault ahead. The massive doors hung open, twisted and broken. Bodies lay scattered on the floor, royal guards in their silver armor. They had died protecting something or someone. Jiwan stepped over the bodies carefully. His heart pounded. The Galactic Council had paid him a fortune to extract one person from this hellhole. Princess Hana. Last heir of the Vexir dynasty. The last hope of a dying species. Inside the vault, the air was thick with smoke. Gold and jewels lay scattered like worthless trash. None of it mattered now. At the center of the room, standing over 3 more dead guards, was a woman. She was tall and lean, her skin pale blue with silver markings that glowed faintly. Her eyes were bright purple, burning with rage and grief. Blood stained her ceremonial robes. In her hands she held a curved blade that hummed with energy. Princess Hana. She turned when she heard him moving with deadly grace. The blade came up, pointing at his throat. Another killer, she said. Her voice was cold. Come to finish what the Kraloth started? Jiwan raised his hand slowly. I'm here to help. The Galactic Council sent me. The Council? She spat. They watched my world burn. They did nothing while my people died. I know, Jiwan said. He kept his voice steady. But they sent me to get you out. You can hate them later. Right now, we need to leave. She studied him for a long moment. The blade didn't waver. You're human, she said finally. From Earth. That's right. I've heard of your kind. Mercenaries. Warriors for hire. You fight for whoever pays the most. Jiwan shrugged. Sometimes. But right now I'm fighting to keep you alive. We can argue about my morals after we're not dead. An explosion shook the palace. Dust rained from the ceiling. Voices echoed in the distance. Kraloth soldiers were getting closer. Hana lowered her blade slightly. You have a way out? Through the desert? 200 kilometers to the extraction point. 200 kilometers, she repeated. On foot. Unless you can fly. She almost smiled. Almost. Then her face hardened again. Lead the way, human. They moved quickly through the ruins. Jiwan led, weapon ready. Hana followed, her blade still in hand. She moved like water, silent and fluid. He had to admit, she knew how to fight. They reached the outer wall just as a squad of Kraloth soldiers rounded the corner. 6 of them, heavily armed. Jiwan fired first, dropping 2 before they could react. Hana moved like lightning, her blade cutting through armor like paper. The fight was brutal and fast. When it was over, Jiwan was breathing hard. Hana wasn't even winded. She looked at him with something like respect. You fight well for a human. We do what we can, he said, reloading his weapon. Now move. They climbed through a breach in the wall and dropped into the desert beyond. The sand was red like rust, stretching endlessly in all directions. Behind them, the palace groaned and collapsed, sending up a massive cloud of dust and ash. Hana stopped and looked back. For a moment, her mask cracked. Tears streaked her face, cutting clean lines through the dust and blood. My home, she whispered. My family. Everything. Jiwan didn't know what to say. What could you say to someone who had just lost everything? He put a hand on her shoulder. I'm sorry, but we need to keep moving. She nodded, wiping her eyes. The mask came back. Yes, you're right. She looked at him. What's your name, human? Jiwan. Jiwon, she repeated. I am Hana, though I suppose you already knew that. Yeah. They started walking. The sun was setting, painting the desert in shades of blood and fire. In the distance, they could hear the sound of Kraloth ships taking off. The enemy would be hunting them soon. 200 kilometers, Hana said. In this heat, with no supplies. Jiwon pulled a compact pack from his belt and tossed it to her. Water purification tablets, emergency rations, medical supplies. I came prepared. She caught it and examined the contents. Efficient. That's the idea. They walked in silence for hours. The night came quickly, and with it, the cold. The desert was brutal. Burning hot during the day, freezing at night. Jiwon had been to worse places, but not many. Hana was struggling. He could see it in the way she moved. Her species wasn't built for this kind of environment. Too hot, too dry, too harsh. But she didn't complain. She just kept walking. We should rest, Jiwon said finally. Find shelter. I can keep going. I know you can. But you shouldn't. Rest now, or you won't make it. She looked at him for a moment, then nodded. They found a small outcropping of rocks that provided some shelter from the wind. Jiwon set up a basic camp while Hana watched. You've done this before, she observed. Few times. How many? Enough to know what I'm doing. She sat down, wrapping her arms around herself. I've never been off my world before, she said quietly. Never even left the capital city. And now? She gestured at the endless desert. Now you're getting a crash course in survival, Jiwon said. He pulled out a thin thermal blanket and handed it to her. Here, it'll help with the cold. What about you? I'll manage. She took the blanket. Thank you. They sat in silence for a while. The stars came out bright and cold. Hana looked up at them. My people used to navigate by the stars, she said. Before we had ships, before we reached space. We were nomads once, traveling the deserts of our world. And now? Now I'm a nomad again. Her voice was bitter, but without a home to return to. Jiwon didn't know what to say to that. So he said nothing. Sometimes silence was better than empty words. You should sleep, he said finally. I'll keep watch. You need rest too. I'll sleep later. Right now, keeping you alive is more important. She looked at him for a long moment. Why? Why what? Why do you care? You said it yourself. You're a mercenary. You fight for money. So why risk your life? For someone you don't know? Jiwon was quiet for a moment. Because somebody has to, he said finally. And right now, that somebody is me. Hana studied him in the darkness. Then she nodded slowly and lay down, wrapping the thermal blanket around herself. Within minutes, she was asleep. Jiwon sat with his weapon across his knees, watching the darkness. In the distance, he could see lights moving across the desert. Kraloth search parties. They were being hunted. He checked his communicator. Commander Doyen's last message was hours old. No updates, no support. They were on their own. 200 kilometers through hostile territory with an alien princess who had never left her palace before. The odds weren't good, but Jiwon had beaten bad odds before. He would do it again. He had to. The sun rose like a hammer, turning the desert into an oven. Jiwon woke Hana before the heat became unbearable. She looked exhausted, her skin paler than before, but she didn't complain. They ate quickly, protein bars and water. Not much, but enough to keep them moving. Jiwon checked his scanner. The Kraloth search parties had moved south during the night. That gave them a window. We need to cover at least 30 kilometers today, he said, before the drones start their patrols. Hana nodded and stood. She swayed slightly, catching herself against the rocks. Jiwon pretended not to notice. They walked north, keeping to the shadows of the dunes when they could. The heat was crushing. Jiwon had been in deserts before, but this was different. This heat felt alive, pressing down on them like a living thing. Hana was suffering. Her species came from a cooler world. This environment was slowly killing her, but she kept walking, one foot in front of the other. Stubborn. Jiwon respected that. By midday, she collapsed. Jiwon caught her before she hit the sand. Her skin was burning up, heat exhaustion. He dragged her to the shade of a large rock and poured water over her head. "I'm sorry," she gasped. "I'm slowing you down. Stop talking. Save your strength." He pulled out a medical kit and gave her a stimulant injection. Not healthy in the long run, but it would keep her going. She gripped his arm. "Leave me. You'll move faster alone." "Not happening." "Jiwon, I'm serious. The mission is more important than one life." "Yeah, well, I didn't come all this way just to leave you in the sand." He forced water into her mouth. "Drink, that's an order." "You can't order a princess. What out here I can." "Now drink." She drank. The stimulant kicked in after a few minutes, giving her strength. Color returned to her face. She looked at him with something between gratitude and frustration. "You humans are impossible," she said. "So I've been told." They rested until the sun started to sink. Then they moved again, taking advantage of the cooler evening air. They made good progress, covering the ground quickly. As they walked, Hana began to ask questions. About Earth, about humans, about Jiwon's life before this. "Why did you become a soldier?" she asked. Jiwon shrugged. "Didn't have much choice. Grew up in a war zone. Joined the military when I was 16. Been fighting ever since. That's young. War doesn't care about age." "No," she agreed softly. "It doesn't." They walked in silence for a while. Then Hana spoke again. "My father wanted me to be a diplomat. He said violence should always be the last option. That words could solve more problems than weapons." Smart man. He was. But words didn't stop the Kraloth. Their ships came and they didn't want to talk. They wanted our world, our resources, our submission. Her voice grew hard. "So I learned to fight. My father didn't approve, but he didn't stop me either. Where is he now?" "Dead. Killed in the first bombardment, along with my mother, my brother, and most of the Royal Council." She said it flatly, without emotion, but Jiwon could see the pain in her eyes. "I'm sorry. Everyone's sorry, but sorry doesn't bring them back." She kicked at the sand. "The Galactic Council was sorry. The Allied worlds were sorry. But none of them sent help. They watched my world burn and did nothing." "Politics," Jiwon said bitterly. "It's the same everywhere. Rich people in safe places making decisions that get poor people killed." Hana looked at him with surprise. "You understand?" "Yeah, I've seen it enough times." Night fell quickly. They found shelter in an old ruin, the remains of some ancient structure half buried in sand. It provided good cover from the wind and from any searching eyes. Jiwon set up camp while Hana explored the ruins. She found old carvings on the walls, pictures of her people from thousands of years ago. "My ancestors built this," she said, running her fingers over the stone. "Before we had cities. Before we reached the stars. They survived in this desert. They were strong." "So are you," Jiwon said. She looked at him. "Am I?" "I feel weak, helpless. Everything I knew is gone. My home, my people, my purpose. You survived when thousands didn't. You're still fighting. That's not weak. Fighting for what? To run away? To hide? To live? To remember? To make sure your people's story doesn't end here." He sat down beside her. "That's worth fighting for." Hana was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You're different from what I expected." "How so?" "I thought humans were just warriors. Strong and violent, but simple. But you understand things. You see beyond the fight. We're more than just soldiers. We're survivors, adapters. We make the best of bad situations." He smiled slightly. "It's kind of our thing. I'm beginning to see that." They made a small fire using dried plants Jiwon found in the ruins. It wasn't much, but it provided warmth against the cold night air. They shared a meal of rations and water. "Tell me about your people," Jiwon said. "The Vex here, I want to know." Hana's eyes lit up. She told him about her world. The crystal cities that caught the light of 3 suns. The floating gardens. The music that could move stone. The festivals. The traditions. The dreams. She told him about biosynchronization, the ancient ability her people possessed. The power to merge minds and bodies with compatible species, creating a perfect union of strengths. "It's sacred," she explained. "We don't do it lightly. When 2 beings synchronize, they become one, sharing thoughts, feelings, abilities. It's the ultimate trust." "Sounds intense," Jiwon said. "It is, and dangerous. If the bond is forced or broken, it can destroy both minds." She looked at him seriously. "But when done right, it creates something greater than either being alone. Have you ever done it?" No, I never found someone compatible. It requires perfect harmony of mind and spirit, she paused. Humans, though. Your species has shown remarkable compatibility with others. Your minds are flexible. Adaptable. There's that word again. Adaptable. It's your greatest strength. Other species are locked into their ways. But humans, you change, you grow, you overcome. She smiled slightly. It's remarkable, really. Or stupid. Depending on who you ask, she laughed. It was the first time he'd heard her laugh. It was a good sound. They talked late into the night. About their worlds. Their lives. Their hopes and fears. Ji-won found himself opening up in ways he hadn't in years. There was something about Hana that made it easy to talk. Maybe it was because they were both alone now. Both survivors. Both carrying the weight of loss. Or maybe it was something else. Something deeper. Eventually, exhaustion caught up with them. Hana fell asleep by the fire, wrapped in the thermal blanket. Ji-won kept watch, his weapon ready. But for the first time since this mission started, he felt something other than duty. He felt connection. Companionship. Hope. They still had 170 kilometers to go. The Kraloth were still hunting them. The odds were still terrible, but they were together. And somehow that made all the difference. The sandstorm hit on the third day. It came like a wall of fury, turning the world orange and black. The wind howled like a living thing, tearing at their clothes and skin. Ji-won grabbed Hana's hand. "Stay close! Don't let go!" She squeezed his hand tight. The sand was everywhere, in their eyes, their mouths, their lungs. Visibility dropped to nothing, they could barely see 3 feet ahead. "Perfect cover," Ji-won shouted over the wind. "The drones can't track us in this. And we can't see where. We're going!" "Details!" They pushed forward, fighting against the wind. Ji-won used his compass to keep them heading north. It was slow, brutal work. But it was better than being sitting targets for Kraloth hunters. Then Hana stopped. She pulled on his hand, pointing into the storm. Through the swirling sand, Ji-won could see shapes. Figures moving toward them. Kraloth soldiers. At least 10 of them, maybe more. They must have been tracking on foot, following some signal Ji-won had missed. "Run!" Ji-won shouted. They ran blindly through the storm. Plasma bolts cut through the sand, missing them by inches. The Kraloth were firing blind, but there were so many of them that it didn't matter. One bolt hit close. Too close. The explosion threw Ji-won forward. He hit the ground hard, rolling. When he looked up, he saw a Kraloth soldier standing over him, weapon raised. Hana's blade took the soldier's head off. She pulled Ji-won to his feet. "Move." More soldiers appeared. They were surrounded. Ji-won fired, dropped 2, but his weapon clicked empty. Last magazine gone. He threw the gun aside and pulled his combat knife. "Not good odds," Hana said, back to back with him. "I've had worse." Liar. Yeah. The Kraloth closed in. 8 of them, armored and armed. Through the storm, a voice called out in heavily accented human speech. "Ji-won, long time no see." Ji-won's blood went cold. He knew that voice. A man stepped forward, removing his helmet. Human face, Korean features, scar across his left eye. Taejin, former soldier, former friend, current traitor. "Taejin," Ji-won said. "Should have known you'd be here. The Kraloth pay better than the Terran Defense Corps." Taejin smiled. "Much better. You should join us. We could use a fighter like you." "Not interested." "Shame." Taejin raised his weapon. "Then you die. Hand over the princess." "Also not happening." Taejin shrugged. "Your choice." He fired. Ji-won moved fast, but not fast enough. The plasma bolt burned through his side. He felt the heat, the pain, and then he was falling. Hana caught him. "Ji-won, no!" The world was spinning, pain like fire in his chest. He looked down and saw blood. Too much blood. This was bad. This was very bad. Hana laid him down in the sand. Above them, Taejin and the Kraloth soldiers moved closer. She stood over Ji-won, her blade ready, but they both knew it was over. "Come quietly, princess," Taejin said. "The human is dead. No point in dying with him. Hana looked down at Jiwon. Their eyes met. In that moment, Jiwon saw something in her face. Decision, determination, fear, and something else. Love. "I'm sorry," she whispered to him. "This will hurt." She dropped to her knees, straddling him. Her hands went to his temples. The silver markings on her skin began to glow, bright and intense. "What are you doing?" Jiwon gasped. "Saving you. Saving us both." She leaned close, her face inches from his. "My body is your weapon, Jiwon. My strength is yours. My life is yours. We are one." The ancient words of the Vexir bonding ritual. Biosynchronization. "Hana, no! It's too dangerous." "I know. But I choose this. I choose you." The glow spread from her hands to his head. Jiwon felt something rush into him. Power. Knowledge. Memories that weren't his own. Hana's consciousness flooding into his mind. It was overwhelming. Beautiful and terrifying. He felt her fear, her pain, her determination. He saw her memories, her childhood in the Crystal Palace, her father's smile, her mother's songs, the day the Kraloth came. And beneath it all, he felt her feelings for him. Trust, respect, affection, love. The silver markings spread from Hana to Jiwon, flowing across his skin like living light. His wound began to close. Vexir regenerative power channeled through the bond. Taejin stepped back. What the hell? The Kraloth soldiers raised their weapons, but they were too slow. The synchronization completed in a flash of light. Jiwon's eyes opened, glowing with the same silver light as Hana's markings. He stood, lifting Hana with him. She stayed pressed against him, their bodies moving as one. He could feel her strength flowing through his muscles, her knowledge filling his mind, her will merging with his own. They were one being, one mind, one weapon. "Kill them!" Taejin screamed. The Kraloth soldiers fired. Jiwon moved with speed that shouldn't be possible for a human. Hana's combat training flowing through his body, his tactical mind directing every move. They dodged plasma bolts that should have killed them. They moved through the enemy like a dance. Jiwon grabbed a fallen weapon and fired with perfect accuracy. Hana's blade sang through the air, cutting through armor like cloth. Together, they were unstoppable. The Kraloth soldiers fell one by one. Taejin tried to run, but Jiwon caught him. He lifted the traitor by his throat. "Should have taken a different contract," Jiwon said. His voice echoed with Hana's, two voices speaking as one. He threw Taejin into the sand and turned away. The traitor wasn't worth killing. Let the desert have him. The sandstorm began to clear. Jiwon and Hana stood in the silence that followed, still connected, still one. Slowly, carefully, they separated. The glow faded, but the connection remained. Jiwon could still feel Hana in the back of his mind. A presence, a warmth. She swayed, exhausted. He caught her before she fell. "That was incredible," he said. "That was dangerous," she corrected. "And it's not over. The bond is active now. We're connected." "Is that bad?" She looked up at him. "I don't know, but I don't regret it." "Neither do I." They held each other in the clearing storm. Around them lay the bodies of their enemies. Above them, the sky began to clear, revealing stars. They had survived. Together. But the journey wasn't over. They still had 150 kilometers to go. And now they were something new. Something the galaxy had never seen before. A human and a Vexir, perfectly synchronized. One mind in two bodies. One weapon with two forms. The Kraloth had no idea what was coming for them. They walked through the night, putting distance between themselves and the battlefield. The bond hummed between them, a constant presence. Jiwon could feel Hana's exhaustion as clearly as his own. It was strange. Wonderful and terrifying at the same time. He could sense her emotions, her thoughts. Not all of them, but enough, and she could feel his. "This is going to take some getting used to," he said aloud. "I know," Hana replied. "Most Vexir train for years before attempting synchronization. We just jumped in," Story of my life. Jump first, ask questions later, she smiled. I'm learning that about you. They found shelter in a cave as dawn approached. Inside, Jiwon set up camp while Hana collapsed against the wall. The synchronization had drained her more than the fighting. Rest, Jiwon said. I'll keep watch. You need rest too. I can feel your fatigue. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Can't hide anything from each other now? No, she agreed softly. No secrets. She closed her eyes but didn't sleep. Jiwon could feel her mind working, processing what had happened. Processing their new reality. I saw your memories, she said after a while. During the synchronization. The war. The things you've seen. The things you've done, Jiwon stiffened. Yeah, sorry about that. Don't be. I understand you better now. Why you fight. Why you survive. Why you care. She opened her eyes and looked at him. You carry so much pain, so much guilt. Comes with a job, no. It comes from caring. From trying to save everyone even when you can't. She sat up. I saw your squad. The ones who didn't make it. Jiwon looked away. I don't want to talk about that. You blame yourself. But it wasn't your fault. You did everything you could. Wasn't enough. Sometimes it's not. That's the truth of war. We both know it now. She reached out and touched his hand. But you keep trying. That's what makes you who you are. The touch sent a pulse through the bond. Comfort, understanding, acceptance. I saw your memories too, Jiwon said. Your family. Your world before the war. It was beautiful. It was home. Tears formed in her eyes. And now it's gone. Not gone. Changed, but the memories remain. The culture remains. You remain? He squeezed her hand. As long as you're alive, your world lives too. She nodded, wiping her eyes. The bond goes both ways. I feel your strength now. Your determination. It helps? Good. Because we're going to need it. His communicator buzzed. Commander Doyen's voice crackled through. Jiwon, this is Doyen. Do you copy? I copy. Go ahead. Status update. Kraloth forces have deployed their elite guard. They're setting up checkpoints along your route to the extraction point. They know where you're heading. Great. Any good news? Not really. Extraction is still scheduled in 24 hours. We can't delay or change location. Command won't authorize it. Of course they won't. Jiwon looked at Hana. We'll make it. There's something else. Intelligence reports that General Mirai herself is leading the search. She's got orders to capture the princess alive. Something about vault codes and ancient Vexir technology. Hana's face went pale. The ancestral vaults. They want access to our most sacred sites. What's in those vaults? Jiwon asked. Knowledge, technology, weapons, things from before my people reached the stars. Things we kept hidden for good reasons. And you have the codes. I'm the last of the royal line. The codes are encoded in my DNA, only I can open the vaults. She looked grim. That's why they want me alive. That's why they'll never stop hunting us. Doyen's voice came through again. Jiwon, be advised. There's a Kraloth outpost 40 kilometers from your position. Supply depot. Might have useful equipment. And prisoners? Intel suggests yes. Vexir civilians captured during the invasion. Can't confirm numbers. Hana grabbed the communicator. My people? They have my people? That's the intel. But Jiwon, the mission is to extract the princess, not launch a rescue operation. Command is clear on that. Jiwon looked at Hana. Through the bond, he felt her conflict. Her duty to survive versus her duty to her people. Her heart breaking at the thought of leaving them behind. He made the decision. Doyen, we're going to hit that outpost. Negative. That's not the mission. It is now. We're not leaving innocent people to die. Jiwon, this is a bad idea. Most of my ideas are. Jiwon out. He switched off the communicator and looked at Hana. We're going to get your people. She stared at him. Why? This makes everything harder. More dangerous, and because it's right. And because through this bond I can feel what you're feeling. I know what those people mean to you. So we're getting them out. Tears streamed down her face. You would risk everything for people you don't know? I know them through you. That's enough. She threw her arms around him. Thank you. Thank you. He held her. Through the bond, their emotions mixed. Gratitude, determination, fear, hope, and love. Growing stronger with every moment. We need to rest before we move, Jiwon said. The outpost won't be easy. How do we do this? Attack together like before? We'll need to practice. Figure out how to use the bond effectively. He stood and held out his hand. Show me how your people fight. She took his hand. They moved to the center of the cave. Through the bond, she shared her knowledge. Vexir combat forms honed over thousands of years, movements that were elegant and deadly. Jiwon felt the information flowing into his mind. His body began to move on instinct, copying forms he'd never learned. It was incredible. Now you try, Hana said. Show me human tactics. He shared his knowledge through the bond. Urban warfare, guerrilla tactics, everything he'd learned in 20 years of fighting. She absorbed it all, her eyes widening. You fight so differently, she said. Not elegant, but effective, brutal, creative. Humans don't have natural weapons or armor. We had to get creative to survive. I see that now. Your species is remarkable. She smiled. Together we combine your creativity with my precision. That's what makes this bond so powerful. They practiced for hours, learning to move together, learning to think together. The bond made it easier than it should have been. They could anticipate each other's moves, support each other's weaknesses. By the time they finished, they moved like one being with two bodies. Perfect synchronization. Ready? Jiwon asked. Ready? Hana confirmed. They gathered their equipment and prepared to move. The outpost waited. The prisoners waited. Their people waited, and somewhere out there, General Mireille and her elite guard were hunting them. The odds were terrible. The risks were enormous, but they were together, and together they were unstoppable. The Kraloth outpost sat in a valley between two dunes. Guard towers, walls, heavy weapons. Not an easy target, Jiwon and Hana watched from a ridge. The sun was setting, casting long shadows. Through the bond, they shared observations, forming a plan without words. 20 guards, Jiwon said. Maybe more inside. I see the prisoners. Third building on the left. Hana pointed. 6 of them, including my handmaiden Yunji. Through the bond, Jiwon saw Hana's memories of Yunji. A young woman who had served Hana since childhood. More friend than servant. She was thin now, beaten but alive. We go in fast, Jiwon said. Take out the towers first. Then breach the walls. Get the prisoners and run. Simple plan. Simple is good. They moved when full dark fell. Silent as ghosts, they approached the outpost. The guards never saw them coming. Jiwon took the first tower. Hana took the second. Perfect coordination through the bond. The guards fell without making a sound. They breached the wall. The alarm went up. Kraloth soldiers poured out of the barracks. The fight was brutal and fast, but Jiwon and Hana fought as one. Where he struck, she defended. Where she advanced, he covered. They moved like a single weapon with 2 edges. They reached the prison building. Jiwon blasted the door open. Inside, 6 Vexir prisoners huddled in the darkness. They looked up in fear, then hope. Princess, Yunji gasped. You're alive! Come on, move! Jiwon shouted. They freed the prisoners and fought their way back to the wall. More Kraloth soldiers came, but Jiwon and Hana held them off. The prisoners escaped into the desert. Then Jiwon felt it. A spike of pain through the bond. He turned and saw Hana stagger. She caught herself, but something was wrong. Hana? What's wrong? Nothing. Keep fighting. But through the bond, he felt the truth. Pain. Weakness. Something draining her from inside. They finished the fight and retreated into the desert. They ran for hours, the prisoners struggling to keep up. Finally, they reached a safe distance and collapsed in an old ruin. The prisoners were grateful. Yunji held Hana's hand, crying with relief. But Jiwon could see something was wrong. Hana was pale, trembling. Everyone rest, he said. We move at dawn. When the others slept, he pulled Hana aside. Tell me the truth. What's happening to you? She looked away. The bond. There's a price. What price? My life force. To maintain your enhanced abilities, the bond draws on my energy, my vitality. She took a shaky breath. I'm dying, Jiwon, slowly but surely. The words hit him like a hammer. What? No, break the bond. Do it now. I can't. Once formed, the bond is permanent. And even if I could, we need the power. Without it, we'll never reach the extraction point. The Kraloth are closing in. I don't care about the mission. I won't let you die for me. It's not just for you. It's for them. She gestured to the sleeping prisoners. For my people. For the future. This is my choice, Jiwon. Your choice to die, my choice to matter. To save something worth saving. She touched his face. You feel what I feel. You know this is right, he did. Through the bond, he felt her resolve. Her acceptance. But he also felt her fear. Her desire to live. her love for him. "There has to be another way," he said. "There is. Maybe." She led him deeper into the ruin. There, half buried in sand, was an ancient device. Vexir technology, thousands of years old. What is it? A combat exosuit. Ancient Vexir design. It amplifies synchronization, makes the bond 10 times more powerful. And the downside? It would drain me completely. Hours, maybe less. But with it, we could fight an army. We could guarantee everyone else escapes. Absolutely not. Jiwan, listen. General Mirai is coming. I can feel it. She's close. With her entire army, we can't outrun them. Not with the prisoners slowing us down. Then we leave the prisoners. We run. You don't mean that. He didn't. She was right. They both knew it. There has to be another way, he said again. If you think of one, tell me. She leaned against him. I'm sorry. I knew the bond would cost me. But I thought we'd have more time. He held her. Through the bond, their emotions merged. Fear, sorrow, desperation, and beneath it all, love. I can't lose you, he whispered. I'm already part of you. The bond ensures that. Even if my body dies, a piece of me will remain in your mind, in your soul. That's not enough. I know. She pulled back and looked at him. But it's what we have. They sat in silence. The weight of their situation pressing down on them. The prisoners slept, unaware of the choice facing them. Then Jiwan's communicator buzzed. Commander Doyen's voice, urgent. Jiwan, large force moving toward your position. Kraloth Elite Guard, led by General Mirai herself. Ide 2 hours, how many? At least 100. Heavy weapons, gunships, you need to move now. We have prisoners, civilians, they can't move fast, then leave them. This is not up for discussion. Your mission is to extract the princess. Not happening. Jiwan looked at Hana. Through the bond, they made the decision together. Send the coordinates of the extraction point to the prisoners. Tell them to head there. We'll buy them time. What? Jiwan, that's suicide. Maybe. But it's the only way everyone else survives. He looked at the ancient exosuit. And we have an advantage they don't know about. Hana nodded. Send the coordinates, Commander. And be ready to extract civilians along with us. Princess, I cannot authorize this. You don't have to. We're doing it anyway. Jiwan out. He switched off the communicator. They woke the prisoners and explained the plan. Hyunji protested, but Hana was firm. Go. Run. Don't look back. We will find you at the extraction point. You're lying, Hyunji said, tears in her eyes. You're not coming back, Hana smiled. Have faith. Now go. The prisoners left, reluctant but obedient. Jiwan and Hana watched them disappear into the darkness. Then they turned to the ancient exosuit. It gleamed in the starlight, waiting. Ready? Hana asked. No, Jiwan said honestly. But let's do it anyway. She took his hand. Whatever happens, I want you to know. I love you. I've loved you since that first night in the desert. I love you too, he said. And we're going to survive this. Both of us, promise? Promise. In the distance, lights appeared on the horizon. The Kraloth army was coming, and Jiwan and Hana were ready. Jiwan stepped into the exosuit. The ancient metal closed around him like a second skin. It was heavy but somehow felt natural, as if it had been waiting for him. Hana placed her hands on the suit's core. The silver markings on her skin flared bright. The bond activated, stronger than ever before. Power flooded through Jiwan's body. He gasped. It was too much. Too intense. Every sense heightened. Every muscle alive with energy. He could feel Hana's consciousness fully merged with his own. They were truly one. But he could also feel her life draining, pouring into the suit, into him, keeping him strong while she grew weaker. I feel it, he said. We need to end this quickly. Then let's not waste time. Her voice echoed through the bond, strong despite her failing body. The Kraloth army arrived like a storm. Tanks, gunships, hundreds of soldiers in heavy armor. They surrounded the ancient ruin, weapons ready. A voice boomed across the desert. General Mirai, speaking through loudspeakers. Princess Hana, human warrior. You are surrounded. Surrender now and you will not be harmed. Jiwan stepped out of the ruin. The exosuit gleamed in the morning light. Hana stood beside him, her hand on his arm, channeling power through the bond. Here's my answer, Jiwan said. He moved, faster than thought, faster than anything human should be. The exosuit amplified his speed tenfold. In seconds, he was among the front line of soldiers. The fight began. Jiwan fought like nothing the Kraloth had ever seen. Human tactics combined with Vexir grace. brutal efficiency mixed with elegant precision. He moved through their ranks like death itself. Soldiers fell. Tanks exploded. Gunships crashed. The Kraloth army, so confident in their numbers, began to break. Through the bond, Hana guided him. She saw patterns he missed, predicted enemy movements. Together they were a perfect weapon, but Jiwan could feel her weakening. Every move he made drained her life. She was dying to keep him fighting. Hana, you need to stop. Break the connection. Not yet. Keep fighting. They're almost broken. She was right. The Kraloth were retreating. Their perfect formation shattered. They had never faced anything like this. One warrior holding off an entire army. Then General Mirai stepped forward. She was massive even for a Kraloth. Her armor was black and gold, covered in battle scars. In her hands she carried a weapon that hummed with power. Impressive, she said. Her voice was deep and commanding. You fight with honor. Rare in humans. I fight to protect, Jiwan replied. That's all the honor I need. Then let us fight. You and I, one-on-one. If you win, my forces withdraw. Your people go free, and if you win, the princess comes with me, peacefully. Through the bond, Hana spoke. Accept, it's our best chance. I can feel your strength. You can beat her. And if I can't, then I'll die fighting anyway. At least this way, there's hope. Jiwan nodded to Mirai. Deal, but know this. I don't lose, Mirai smiled. It was a predator's smile. Neither do I, they circled each other. The Kraloth army pulled back, watching. Hana remained at the edge of the fighting ground, her hand extended, maintaining the bond. Mirai attacked first, fast and brutal. Her weapon struck like lightning. Jiwan barely dodged. The blow hit the sand, leaving a crater, he countered. The exosuit gave him strength, but Mirai was skilled. She had fought for decades, won 1,000 battles. This was no ordinary enemy. They fought across the sand, blow after blow, each one powerful enough to kill, but neither gave ground. Through the bond, Hana whispered knowledge. Kraloth fighting styles, weaknesses in Mirai's technique, cultural traditions that bound her. Kraloth generals follow the old codes, Hana said. Honor above all. If you defeat her fairly, she must yield. Then I'll beat her fairly. Jiwan changed tactics. Instead of matching her strength, he used speed. Human creativity. He dodged and weaved, looking for openings. Making her angry. Making her sloppy, it worked. Mirai's attacks grew wilder, less controlled. She was frustrated. Humans weren't supposed to fight like this. They were supposed to be simple, predictable. Jiwan saw his chance. He feinted left, then struck right. The blow caught Mirai in the side, cracking her armor. She stumbled. He pressed the advantage. Strike after strike. Not trying to kill, but to dominate. To prove his superiority. Finally, he disarmed her. Her weapon flew from her hands. He stood over her, victorious. Yield, he said. Mirai looked up at him. Blood ran from her mouth. But in her eyes there was respect. You fight with honor. With courage. With wisdom, she bowed her head. I yield. The Kraloth army stood in stunned silence. Their general had been defeated. By a human, Mirai stood slowly. Warriors, stand down. The human has won fairly. We withdraw. General, no. One of her officers protested. Silence. The old codes must be honored. We withdraw. She turned to Jiwan. You have earned your victory. The prisoners go free. But know this, human. We will remember you. The warrior who defeated General Mirai. Good, Jiwan said. Remember that humans don't give up. Ever. Mirai smiled grimly. We will. She signaled her troops. Move out! The Kraloth army withdrew. Slowly at first, then faster. Within minutes they were gone. Only dust remained. Jiwan turned to find Hana. She was on her knees, barely conscious. He ran to her, catching her before she fell. Hana, stay with me! We won, she whispered. I knew you could do it. Don't talk. Save your strength. There's no strength left. I gave it all to you. She touched his face. Worth it. To see you victorious. To save my people? No, you're not dying. I won't allow it. Above them, the sound of engines. A ship descended from the sky. Terran markings. Commander Doyun had come early. The ship landed. Doyun emerged with a medical team. They rushed to Hana, scanning her with their equipment. She's critical, one medic said. Life signs failing. Then fix her. Jiwan shouted, we're trying. But the synchronization has damaged her at a cellular level. We don't have the technology to repair it. Doyun put a hand on Jiwan's shoulder. I'm sorry. We did all we could. She knew the risks. No. Jiwon knelt beside Hana. Through the bond, he could feel her fading. I'm not losing you. Not like this. In the distance, the freed prisoners appeared, running toward the ship. They had made it. All of them, safe. Hana smiled weakly. They're safe. That's all that matters. You matter too. You matter to me. I know, I feel it. Through the bond. Her eyes began to close. Thank you, Jiwon, for everything. For showing me what humans truly are. For loving me. I love you, he whispered. Don't leave me. I'm not leaving. Not really. The bond. Her voice faded. Forever. Her hand went limp. The silver markings on her skin dimmed. Through the bond, Jiwon felt her consciousness slipping away, but she wasn't gone. Not completely. A part of her remained. In his mind. In his soul. Connected forever through the bond they had created. The medics worked frantically. Doyen stood silent. The freed prisoners arrived, crying out when they saw their princess, and Jiwon held her, refusing to let go. Refusing to accept that this was the end, because it couldn't be. Not after everything they had been through. Not after what they had become. There had to be a way. There had to be hope. There had to be. 1 week later, Jiwon stood in the medical bay of the Terran flagship. Through the window, he could see Hana in the medical pod. Tubes and wires connected to her body. Machines keeping her alive. She wasn't dead. Not quite, but she wasn't alive either. Trapped in between, her body failing while her consciousness remained linked to his through the bond. He could feel her. Always. A presence in the back of his mind. Warm and constant, but fading. Every day a little weaker. Commander Doyen entered. The scientists want to talk to you. About what? They've been studying the synchronization. They think they found something. Hope flared in Jiwon's chest. He followed Doyen to the research lab. Inside, human and Vexir scientists worked together examining data. A human scientist, Dr. Suman, approached. Jiwon, we've made a discovery. Your DNA has been altered by the synchronization. Altered how? You now carry Vexir genetic markers. The bond changed you on a cellular level. You're still human, but with Vexir traits integrated into your biology. What does that mean for Hana? A Vexir scientist, Dr. Bora, stepped forward. It means the bond can be reversed. Instead of Princess Hana sustaining you, you can now sustain her. Jiwon's heart raced. You can save her? Possibly. The procedure is risky. We've never attempted it before. But theoretically, you could share your life force with her. Keep her alive indefinitely. What's the risk? You'll be permanently linked. More than you are now. Your life forces will be intertwined. If one of you dies, the other follows. There's no breaking this bond ever. Jiwon didn't hesitate. Do it. You should think about this. It's a lifetime commitment. I've already thought about it. Since the moment she saved my life. Since the moment she gave everything to protect others. He looked at Hana through the window. Do it now. They prepared the procedure. Jiwon lay on a medical bed next to Hana's pod. The scientists connected them through the machines, monitoring their vital signs, their brain waves, their synchronized heartbeats. Beginning the procedure, Dr. Suman said. This will hurt. I can handle pain, Jiwon said. They activated the machines. Energy flowed between Jiwon and Hana. He felt his life force streaming out, dividing, sharing. It was like being torn in half, like dying and being reborn at the same time. Pain beyond anything he'd experienced, but he held on, for her, for them. Through the bond, he felt Hana stirring. Her consciousness reaching for his, relief, joy, love. Jiwon, what are you doing? Saving you. Like you saved me. My body is your weapon, remember? But the cost, worth it. Every part of it, the machines hummed. The energy balanced. Two life forces becoming one. Shared, equal, permanent. Hana's eyes opened. Color returned to her face. She gasped, breathing deeply. Alive. The scientists cheered. Dr. Bora wiped tears from her eyes. It worked. The princess lives. They disconnected the machines. Hana sat up slowly. She looked at Jiwon and smiled. Through the bond, their emotions merged. Relief, happiness, gratitude. Love, you saved me, she whispered. We saved each other, he replied. They held each other. Two beings. One bond, forever. The days that followed were busy. The freed Vexir prisoners held a council. They elected Hana as their queen in exile. She accepted, but only with Jiwan at her side as her champion. The Galactic Council recognized the Vexier government. They pledged support, ships, weapons, resources, everything needed to take back their world. General Mirai, bound by her honor and impressed by Jiwan's victory, provided intelligence about Kraloth occupation forces, troop movements, weak points, everything they would need for a campaign. But the most surprising development came from Commander Doyen. He assembled a new strike force. Volunteers from across the Terran military, human soldiers willing to train and synchronize combat. The procedure worked on you, Doyen explained. The scientists think it can work for others. Humans paired with willing Vexier partners, creating synchronized warriors. An army of bonded fighters, Hana said. It's never been done before. Then we'll be the first, Jiwan said. And we'll show the galaxy what happens when humans and Vexier work together. Training began. Pairs formed, humans and Vexier learning to trust each other. To bond, not all succeeded. The synchronization required perfect harmony. But those who did became something amazing. Warriors who combined human creativity with Vexier precision. Each pair unique. Each pair unstoppable, Jiwan and Hana trained them. Taught them. Showed them what was possible when two species became one. Months passed. The force grew. 50 pairs, then 100. Each one a perfect weapon, each one a symbol of hope. On the night before their campaign to liberate Karis 7 began, Jiwan and Hana stood on the observation deck of the flagship. Below them, the fleet assembled. Hundreds of ships, thousands of soldiers, human and Vexier, united. I never thought I'd see this, Hana said. My people standing again, fighting back. Because of you. Because of us, Jiwan corrected. We did this together. Yes, together. She took his hand. Always together now. Through the bond, he felt her joy, her hope, her love, and she felt his. What do you think will happen? She asked. When we take back our world? We'll rebuild. Stronger than before. Not just Vexier, not just human, but something new. A bridge between species. A new beginning. Yeah, for both our peoples. She leaned against him. I love you, Jiwan, my warrior. My champion. My bondmate. I love you too, Hana, my princess. My partner. My everything. They stood together watching the stars. Two souls, one life, one future. Behind them, the synchronized warriors prepared for battle. Each pair a testament to what they had created. What they had proven. That humanity's greatest gift wasn't strength or technology or violence. It was the ability to connect, to adapt, to become something greater by joining with others. Word spread across the galaxy. The story of the human warrior and the alien princess. How they bonded, how they fought, how they saved each other, how a human made a promise and the universe bent to honor it. The Kraloth heard the stories. They prepared their defenses. But deep down they knew. They had already lost. Not to superior numbers or better weapons. They had lost to something far more powerful. Human determination combined with alien grace. Two species united by bonds stronger than any army could break. The campaign would be hard. Lives would be lost. Battles would be won and lost. But the outcome was never in doubt, because Jiwan and Hana had shown the galaxy something important. Something that would change everything. That when a human gives their word, when a human makes a vow, nothing in the universe can stop them from keeping it. Not armies, not death, not even impossible odds. And when that human finds someone worth fighting for, worth dying for, worth living for, they become unstoppable. The fleet began to move, engines roaring, lights blazing against the darkness, heading toward Karis 7, heading home. Jiwan and Hana stood together, hands joined, hearts beating as one, ready for whatever came next. They were no longer just a warrior and a princess. They were a symbol, a promise, a future, and their story was just beginning.